What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Broshoot podcast. Today, we're going to get into our favorite war films. We skipped a week. I just moved into the new place. I haven't really got it all set up yet, but super excited about that. Wells got married last weekend. We've been having a lot of crazy stuff happening. What about you, Nicky? What you been up to?
I'm starting a cover band with
That's
a few
pretty cool.
friends. So,
Yeah.
so just real quick, just a quick story. So, the place that I go and sing at, some of the guys that work there that uh, play the instruments in the band for the karaoke bar, one of the guitarists approached me and said, "Hey, just we're doing like a side thing. Some of the guys and us that work here. Do you want to sing for us?" And I was like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So we're actually doing our first. I know I wouldn't call it a concert, but we're doing our first showing at a Guitar Center. We've already got 7 songs that we worked on, and we've been rehearsing for the past week or so. So I'm
Oh
pretty
man, so
excited
you've
for it.
been busy too.
I have, yeah. I've been trying to stay as productive as possible, and they are like when you talk about being musicians, these guys are like light years ahead of me when it comes to like knowing theory and everything like that. I mean, it's just a rock and roll cover band, but still, they know a lot more than I do. And I know Wells, I know you know a lot more than I do about music and everything like that. But I've learned a lot within the past few weeks. It's crazy what they know. They're about 5 years older than me.
Can you read music?
I used to. When I was starting to learn how to play guitar, my middle school orchestra teacher was starting a guitar class, and he was teaching us how to read the music, and so we would play along with that. But I've forgotten how to. It's been so long.
It's not easy. I can read bass clef, but I can't read treble clef. But yeah, if
I
you
have
need a
no
baritone,
idea what that means.
basically bass clef. So like I played baritone, so
That's a bass instrument.
low brass.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
brass.
it's a brass instrument. It's a low brass, to be more specific. But we
Oh,
read treble clef. You can translate uh bass clef into treble clef and treble clef into bass clef, like so. Because I had a buddy next to me who played baritone as well, but he could not read bass clef because he was a trumpet player. So they basically like made the baritone parts into treble clef for him. I won't get into all that, but
It's all nerd stuff anyway.
yeah.
yeah.
If you ever need a baritone player, let me know. I don't have one
Will do.
anymore.
Will
but
do.
I kind of want to get one soon.
Wells, if you're not watching, Wells has got a brand new ring on.
Show us. Hell
Kinda
yeah.
disappointing that's not the Ring of Power.
It's not. It's made out of. I can never remember what this is. Tantalum.
Oh. So Wells and I are actually talking about this. There's not a lot of good war films, but when they are done well, they're so good. But they're just really hard to do well. But before we even get into all the war films, you know what time it is, Wells. Let's do some trivia, baby. Okay, how do I?
I'll take what's her face for 900.
I love how when it cuts out, just what I do is like drag that volume bar down.
Yeah, I
and
didn't
make it
see that.
It's okay. It's literally right there.
Okay, well, who cares? Let's get into the first question. How many extras did they use in the D-Day scene for Saving Private Ryan?
Ooh.
Is it A, 500, B, 700, C, 1500, or D, 1000? These are hard because, yeah, they're multiple choice, but there's no way for you to actually know them. So you have to use some like deductive reasoning. I mean, I would get it, but I'm just built a little different.
Nikki, you can go first.
Okay, I'm just gonna, Steven Spielberg. I mean, Holt, you and I have worked on a set before, and you know that we can do a lot of really cool things with just camera angles and tricks, So, like, you don't necessarily need 1,500 people to make it look like that there's that many people. You could use 500 if you wanted to and just frame it to make it look like it was 1,500.
You never need any of that.
Well, I mean, if you want it, you really could, but gosh, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the low extreme. Actually, no, You know what? I want to meet halfway. I want to say maybe C or 700. I want to go 700, maybe.
Okay, B for 700.
Yeah.
Wellington.
Okay, so since he chose B, that's one option that's less than 700. There's two options that's more than 700. So it's most likely going to be more than 700 going off of probability. Or it could be 700.
Yeah.
If
Or
you have
it
a
could
budget
be
like
500.
Spielberg, though, you could splurge it on 1,500 if you really wanted to.
But I want to say that I've heard that it was in the thousands maybe back in the day, but I don't know. And also, like, you're right, Nicky, the camera tricks, those tight, if you get a tighter angle, all you really need is like 10 guys in the background and it looks like a lot of people. Oh man.
This one's tough, but it's a fun question.
I'm going to go with 1000 D.
Y'all are both wrong. It was C, 1,500.
Really? Was it
Yeah.
really 1,500?
Yep. And the
That's
budget for this scene alone was $12 million, and that was in
Oh my
'98,
God.
or I guess probably like '97, or whenever they started filming. So,
And think
That's
about it like
crazy.
this. The not a short film. I keep calling it a short film. The featured film that Danny Gavertz is doing cost him $400,000, and that's a whole film.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that well, to be honest though, that scene does last a good while, probably like 15 minutes.
dude, that's the longest scene. I know a lot of people, like a lot of veterans and people that have PTSD, had to leave because they're like, this is so realistic. If you watch, like, it's like all handheld shaky footage, just really, really shaky. I don't know how they did it, but
Think about this. They also had to get 1,500, accurate American, uniforms so you had to like think of the logistics for that, all of that, like it must have been really crazy to have to resource all of that stuff. The weapon.
Yeah, but imagine this is like, as being Spielberg, this has to be such a humbling undertaking because
Sure.
this is one of the biggest, not if like the biggest scenes you'll probably ever do in your whole life, and you cannot mess it up. So you have to go all in.
Yeah. No,
I
I
mean,
totally agree.
So it makes sense that he would get 1,500 people, and 1,500 people that would want to do it, because you got to imagine all the people that do war reenactments and stuff. Like, I'm sure they had no trouble finding 1,500 people.
Do you know where it was filmed? What country it was filmed in?
Ooh.
I'm not sure about that. Is it in America though?
It wasn't France. I don't think it was France. Was it? Oh God. You know what? Go ahead. I was going to say Canada, but I doubt it is.
I am 80% positive.
So he doesn't know.
It's in England. It's either England or Ireland.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was England.
So is Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket was shot in England.
Full Metal Jacket.
The Vietnam scenes are shot in England.
Mm-hmm. I got something for you guys. How about this? Do you know how many American allies died or not allies, but just American soldiers died on D-Day? I have it right here. It says the National D-Day Memorial Foundation. They have a memorial site in Bedford, Virginia. And there are X number of names enshrined in bronze plaques representing every Allied soldier, sailor, airman, and Coast Guardsman who died on D-Day.
Oh, Allied. So it's not just Americans.
I guess, yeah. So
I would say
D-Day. I want to say it's
Wells is probably gonna be more close, but
God, dude, I
in the tens of thousands though, right? Like, it's just up there.
So
50,000. I want to say it's around 50,000.
I was gonna say 30,000.
So what I have right here, I'm pretty sure it's only talking about Americans. I don't think it was talking about everyone, all the Allied together, but it says right here that there were 4,414 names enshrined in bronze plaques representing every Allied soldier, sailor, airman. And that, I think that's specifically talking about Americans. I wasn't necessarily meaning like everyone in like the British and
Well, if you
yeah.
added it all, if you added them all together, I'm sure it was like
a
up
lot.
there in the tens
Yeah.
of thousands,
And
which
only
is
in a short
which
amount
is
of time.
crazy. I mean, which is crazy.
I was so
Even if-
off.
Yeah, me too. That seems like a low number, but I think we do. We probably skew the numbers a little bit when it comes to war stuff because.
I'm getting this on the History Channel website.
Oh no, that's probably right. I'm talking about us
Mhm.
because you watch the film. Like the only thing I'm going off of is like old World War II like colorized film, and then I'm going off of Saving Private Ryan. Like,
Oh, I gotta say one more thing, and it is film related actually. So there was a lot of footage filmed on D-Day, and you probably noticed that you can't really find that much footage of the actual event. You
Mhm.
have like you probably have like one or two famous shots, but there was hours of footage because as the guy that filmed it was handing it to someone on the boat, they dropped all the film into the water and it ruined all the film.
Oh no.
So like
dude, you had one
he,
job.
so it's either like you can see it as a kind of a blessing because that would have been some pretty brutal stuff
Yeah.
to watch, or in my opinion, from a historical lens, that would have been really, really interesting stuff to watch. But
Yeah,
I will say that one of the most iconic things images that I remember from the D-Day scene from Saving Private Ryan is when you see like the bodies in the water just like floating along with the waves. And I remember seeing some old D-Day footage, and it was exactly that. So you know that as a director, he probably went through as many as he possibly could pieces of footage just to get the imagery as accurate as possible.
yeah. The
Yeah.
sound design in that scene too was nutty.
Mhm.
also,
Yeah.
I'll get into something else later. But what's the next question?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got plenty. We're probably going to talk
Well,
about.
let's keep
Saving
going.
Private
Let's keep
Ryan.
going. Let's keep going.
All
Yeah.
right, question number 2. How many years did it take Coppola to edit Apocalypse Now?
Ooh.
Is it A, 1 year, 1 year, B, 3 years, C, 6 years, or D, 2 years?
Dude, that whole set was such a train wreck.
Yeah.
But it
So I'll give you somewhat of a hint. It's not really a hint, but he had after he'd edited it all together, he had to go back and get Martin Sheen's brother to do the voiceover because he didn't have enough stuff to like kind of explain the context of the film. And he said that first of all, Martin Sheen was already having so much crazy stuff going on with him. With like you said, we talked about this, Nicky, but he had a heart attack on set, and he was dealing with some other problems. And his brother had like almost an identical voice to him, anyway. So that's pretty clutch.
yeah.
That's lucky, man.
Yeah.
And then Marlon Brando came on and he wasn't in shape and he didn't know his lines. He never read the book.
Brando. That's
Yeah.
pretty good, Brando, actually.
Thank you. Okay, you know what? Since the movie was such a train wreck, even though it was a fantastic movie, filming it was just nothing went right. I want to say that it was probably equal for editing it. So I want to say maybe 6. I'm gonna go on.
6 years. 6 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll say 6.
I'm gonna
Def-
say B 3 years.
Oh, which one of you got? One of y'all got it right now. And it was Wellsington.
Was it 3 years? All right,
Yeah.
that's good. That's,
Yeah, I
you
threw,
know
I
what?
threw
That's
6
not
in
too
there.
bad.
I threw 6 in there because I was like, 3 years is still a long time to edit a movie, but I had to do a little tricksies.
No, I mean, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if you said 6 years, but 3 years, I mean, like, yeah, that I believe that.
I was
checks
just
out.
thinking, like, I don't know if he was working on anything after that while editing the film, but if it's just editing, if you ask the question, it's going to be a long time. So it's not going to be 1 year, maybe not even 2 years. So I was like, it's probably 3 because if you just focus on editing, it wouldn't take over 3. Even though
Unless he like sat on it.
3, yeah, that's true.
At the same time, though, we're not talking about like us getting on our laptops.
Yeah, we're not.
and
Yeah,
Premiere
throwing
Pro.
in.
This is literally like analog, like film. You got to cut it and like do the shit.
Also,
like
yeah,
that.
I don't know how that works. Hold your light turned off.
Yeah, I know. It kind of looks better this way, anyways.
I do. I like it like that.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I never really understood. I mean, I understand like you have the film and you had the actual like you know how on a timeline in like Premiere Pro you literally just cut that clip. It's like that, but in like real life with film. I think
It's
that's
supposed to
crazy.
simulate it.
Yeah.
That's pretty nutty.
It's an art form, man. Even in music, I mean, I won't go off on a tangent, but same thing in music. Like the guys with all analog, they would
Okay.
split it, paste
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, we're going on to the next question.
Let's
Okay.
go.
And the third and final question. What is the highest grossing war movie of all time? Is it A, American Sniper, B, Saving Private Ryan, C, Platoon, or D, Pearl Harbor? Now this one's this one's tough. I don't think I would have gotten this one.
I think I'm gonna guess it. I'm gonna go back to 2015 and I'm gonna go American Sniper because I remember that there was a lot of hype for that movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype for that movie.
A lot of hype. I don't know if it's right, but I'm confident in my guess. I think I got this one right. A American Sniper. Have some conviction.
Okay.
It's definitely not Pearl Harbor, and it's definitely not Platoon. Although I really liked Platoon, that was a good movie. And the American Sniper book sold.
If you
a lot
guess
of
American
copies.
Sniper, you're a bitch.
But I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. I'll say Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, drum roll, baby. Let's see. One of y'all got it right.
I know I got it right.
And it was A. Will's got it right, actually.
Let's go.
American Sniper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on that one, it's
the
like whoever
book
guesses
sold.
first. Yeah. And you got to
Yeah.
think then, yeah, he was killed. And like, so like, there's like a lot of, it was very, it's almost like recency bias. Like all this happened so quick. And it was a good movie too. But I mean, Saving Private Ryan's a way better film.
I agree. I
Do
like
you remember
it
the fake baby in American Sniper?
No.
Dude, if you ever have the chance, go back and watch it. It was at Bradley Cooper. The baby
Yeah.
he's holding in the room for his kid is so obviously fake. Like it's just laying there. It's like heads jerking around. It's like not. It's just so bad.
I have a really funny story about watching American Sniper. I was taking this girl out on a date and I didn't know like what movie would be a good movie to watch. So I just told her, I said, "Do you want to go watch this American Sniper?" She's like, "Yeah, sure."
That's probably
And
not
so-
a good bet.
No, it wasn't. It totally wasn't. But and I don't know if you want to edit this out or not. But we were in the back and we had no intention of really watching the movie and just getting watching it for substance. We were there in the back making out. While we're making out, like here I am making out with this girl in the back of the theater.
That's a classic right there.
And well, at the same time, there's this child that's having a drill pressed into his head. Ah! While we're making out, and I'm like, "Holy shit! This is just like the worst." It was the best and worst thing at the same time.
The worst. There's a bunch of different funny movies, but this has nothing to do with war movies. But I remember one time we were all supposed to go to the movies. I was taking this girl out to the movies, and I was like, Holt, you pick. This is way before I even knew anything about film. And I was like, all right, well, what's on? And I was looking through, and it was just like some random terrible films. And then I said, let's all go watch Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh
So-
my god!
Damn, that was a
Dude.
long time ago.
Yeah, dude, this is like, I was probably like 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
So we all sat there and sat through possibly the worst movie of all time. And that's the last time they let me pick a movie because it was that bad. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, but it's
I
just,
have. It was
it's
a brilliant piece of trash.
yeah. That was the last question. So what I wanted to do, and I don't know if you guys did this, but I did a top 5 list. Okay, I'll read mine off, guys, because mine's gonna be the best. This is a really good list. I like it here. At number 1, or no, sorry, at number 5,
Mhm.
I have Full Metal Jacket.
Mhm.
Great film. It's got a lot of good one-liners, and people always pull out. But like, dude, honestly, the first time I watched that movie, dude, I was stunned. Whenever what's his name, Private Pile blows his head off.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was scarred. Like I did not see that. I mean, I guess you could see it coming but I was like pretty young when I watched that, and I was like one of the first realistic suicide scenes I'd seen.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, dude, it was a little too realistic for me. Number 2, The Hurt Locker. I freaking love that film. I don't know what it is about that entire film, but there's something about war movies that aren't actually like there's not much battle going on, and you just have this guy. What's his name?
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner, dude, he kills that role. I freaking love that film.
And
And
won
then win Best Picture.
Best Picture that year.
Yeah.
Over, I think Avatar.
Anytime a film wins Best Picture, I kind of gravitate towards it because there's something so pleasing, appealing to watching a film that wins Best Picture. Like, at the very least, your eyes are going to be glued to the TV or to the big screen, even if it's a terrible movie. So, like, if you're going to film something, film it well, because at least people will appreciate the beauty of it. All right, number 3, I have Dunkirk.
Mhm.
I mean, Christopher Nolan killed it with this one. It's been a while since I've watched it. I think the last time I watched it, I was on the airplane, so I need to really sit down and enjoy it on the big screen because it's been a while since I've seen it. But
He did a really good job with illustrating the desperation that those guys had, trying to escape and holding off the Germans. And watching that film, like watching the trailer of it, I was going, my God, this looks a lot like the way it's filmed and just how dark and cool the atmosphere was. It was like it's like watching The Dark Knight, and then I realized, oh, it's Nolan.
Yeah,
The Germans' biggest folly in World War II.
Yeah,
they weren't
have
really
y'all
defending anything, dude. The Germans just weren't attacking them like they should have, and they could have literally ended the war right there, pretty much.
Yep. Until the Americans came.
And the Russians.
My eyes,
everyone forgets about the Russians.
Yeah.
Of the coming of the Lord.
I don't forget about the Russians. I know that they had a probably larger part to play, but hey, we're in America. We're not in fucking Russia. Okay. And number 2, this isn't like a traditional, like great war film, but it's a war film that I really like, and it is Fury. And I think it's one of the most underrated war films that I've seen because strictly the acting they casted perfectly, and it really had nothing to do with the actual action scenes. Like, yeah, it was cool they were in a tank, but what I loved about it the most was just the little nuance and all the conversation that they had inside the tank. A lot of movies just shot inside a tank. Like, imagine how difficult that was to film. But to me, Shia LaBeouf, obviously you had Brad Pitt. I don't know what the actor's name is who was like the young guy. It had Michael Pena. It had
Percy Jackson.
Yeah, Percy. I don't know.
They all were great. They did a great job. Fury was really, in my eyes, Fury is really cool because a lot of times throughout cinema history, World War II films in comparison to, like, say, Vietnam War films, World War II films are always portrayed in like this really honorable and just fashion or illustration. And that's only because the people at the time, in my opinion, were not really exposed to what the realities of war were and how brutal it really is, and how brutal being a soldier is. And I thought Fury did a really good job at illustrating what kind of a person war can turn you into, regardless of whether you're an American or a Russian or a German. War is war,
Yeah, it only focused on essentially Brad Pitt and the relationship he had with that young soldier.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the dichotomy. It was what I liked about it was, I don't know if you guys remember this scene. It was actually what's his name, Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
He like gets out of the tank and they're trying to force the young guy to kill that German, and he will not kill him. He will not kill him. And then Brad Pitt ends up grabbing him and like holds him over the guy and pulls the trigger for him with a pistol. I forgot what kind of pistol it was, but pretty
probably
cool.
in 1911.
No, it was a model. They're called. It's not a Model 10, but it's a Model 10 38 special revolver. It's the old
revolver
police one. Yeah, no.
Oh, it was a revolver. Yeah,
it wasn't 1911. No. He had a M&P, military and police revolver, Model 10.
The reason I say that's because that like the 1911 was like the standard issue,
Mm-hmm.
but revolvers are more badass. So
yeah, I think it was a revolver.
And I loved how they were making everyone like, laugh and enjoying a good time, killing all these German soldiers. Like, cause it's, you're driven by that hatred and you're like, fuck, my best friend got blown up by a landmine or, a German howitzer.
Yeah, and it humanizes, or it also like puts in perspective, like, hey, these Americans, I mean, they're not, a lot of the times they're committing all these war crimes too. It's not like just Germans. And I feel like a lot of times when you're growing up, you're just seeing like, oh, Americans, they're the good guys. Well, I mean, we might be fighting for something that's maybe more pure, but at the end of the day, they're still pieces of shit at times when they're like trying to rape these young ladies and they're killing innocent people and they're committing war crimes as well. So I think it did a good job of humanizing everybody.
And I agree.
And I think every war movie kind of, a lot of the times they play around with that idea because it's such an interesting idea, especially when you're growing up. You just think it's good versus evil, and there's a lot of gray area that you're not
Right.
used to.
I mean, that's like that was the nature of World War II. Just because it's probably out of all the wars that have probably ever been fought ever, it's probably the most black and white war ever fought.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there wasn't gray area. I mean, people do shitty things, and I think Saving Private Ryan did this as well. Probably like one of my favorite things about Saving Private Ryan, even though it's extremely inaccurate at times, but is when they're taking the bunkers at the top of the hill, and those guys come up and they're speaking a language that they can't understand because it's not English. But I didn't know this because they don't translate it on screen. I didn't know this until years later, but they're saying that they're Czech, like don't shoot, and then they kill them because they think they're German. So like, I thought that was like really interesting. It kind of shows that even though you probably want to be on you want to be on the American side of the war because it's just the better side.
I think what you're trying to say,
moments, like people can do really shitty things.
Yeah, I mean, dude, especially when your life's put to question. I mean,
and not everyone on the German side was a Nazi, so like people were fighting.
And even if they were Nazis, a lot of times they're brainwashed too. It's like that. A lot of times there's propaganda that they don't quite understand, and they think they're fighting for something that they're probably not fighting for. That happens in every war, though. So it's always interesting when directors play around with that. And I'll go to my number one, and I'll switch it off to one of you guys. But my number one, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, I just think it's the best done war film of all time.
And I think being a millennial like you guys, it was the movie for a lot of us that we watched it. Maybe I don't really never showed in school, but like as an example, if you were in school watching it for like educational purposes, or you saw it on TV, you watched it and you actually started getting interested in it because it captured your imagination. Then you go, you know what? I think my grandfather was in World War II. And then you actually go to your grandfather and say, you were in World War II, right? Yeah, I was. Can you tell me a little bit about your experiences? And then that right there for me got me interested into World War II. It's one of it opens the door for your imagination to want to know more about what actually happened, because this shit really happened.
Yeah, I agree. Except, the whole premise of Saving Private Ryan is the brother clause, and how you have to technically the last surviving brother has to return home, but they wouldn't send a captain with a very like you can't just send a captain out because they're very valuable to the whole war effort, and they send him out with like 5 other dudes across France. It wouldn't happen, but that's just me being I don't know. It's not very realistic, but it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies.
But yeah, I feel like sometimes you have to have something like that, to make a film.
I think
good.
World War II, I don't think you have to do that with World War II.
I mean,
honestly.
you have to have somewhat of a story
stories
within the story, because the story itself is so large. You can't make just one film about it. You can't even make an HBO series, Band of Brothers, about. I mean, yeah, you did because you had enough time to like dive into each character and have episodes about it. But like with just a film, like you have to have a story within a story.
You don't have the time, but
yeah, but they could have come up with something better for sure. But still, with all that being said, to
It's
me,
still a
Bro's-
9.2 out of 10 film.
yeah, and that's
Like-
about as good as you can get.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my top 5 next. Holt actually changed my mind on some of them because I kind of forgot about some. But
I
at
have some
number-
honorable mentions too. Sorry, but I was gonna. I'll put those in after we're done though.
All right. At number 5, I have the Hurt Locker or just Hurt Locker. I can't remember if it's the or just Hurt Locker, but at number 5, I have Hurt Locker. Kind of for the reasons Holt said, it's just a damn good movie. Number 4, I had Braveheart in there, but I'm changing it to 1917.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to touch on that too. I mean, we can go back in history, but I kind of wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep mine more recent
Yeah.
war movies. When I think of war movies, I don't think of like medieval war movies. I don't think of Braveheart. I don't think of stuff like that. I don't think of like.
But it is technically a war movie.
Oh no, I'm just saying y'all can put whatever y'all want, but that's just not where my mind goes.
Yeah. Well, mine didn't either until I started thinking about it. At number 3, I have Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, I'm not gonna really explain. It's just a great movie. Number 2, I have War Horse. And at
Oh,
number
yeah.
1, I'm just
Mhm.
kidding.
War
I'm
Horse.
just kidding. At number 2, I did have War Horse written down, but it was just a goof and a gaff. But at number 2, I have Dunkirk, and at number 1, I have Saving Private Ryan.
Damn good list there. I would say
If I could put Brandon Brothers in there, it'd be number 1 though, because I think it's the best piece of World War II. Anything you can watch, it's the most accurate.
yeah, I would say the thing about the Hurt Locker, and I think I like what I said earlier, is it's just a completely different take on any other war film. Well, besides like I get the same vibes with Jarhead. That was my honorable mention. Just Jarhead. Sorry,
Mhm.
Nicky, that's in your top.
That's a good one.
But it's just we're talking about a war film that has no actual battle in it really. So I just think those are just more realistic than. I think those are the most realistic war movies. No offense, Wells. I don't think. Yeah, Band of Brothers is realistic, but you have something that's more modern and realistic like that. I just the battle with Jarhead was when they get back home and battle like depression and suicide.
That's I disagree with you because I agree that they're equally as realistic to me because they're two different wars, and the war in the Middle East was fought in a completely different way than Vietnam and
Dude,
World
no,
War II.
dude, wars nowadays are way worse.
I didn't say they're worse.
I'm just messing. Dude,
Okay,
I'm just messing.
Okay, I was gonna be like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? But no, you get dropped in, and you don't know who the enemy is. Like in Vietnam, they dropped them into the war.
Flash.
Okay. Anyways, don't interrupt me. And in
Thunder.
World War II, you had a huge Allied beach invasions. Guess where the enemy is? In front of you. Guess where it isn't? Behind you. It's psychologically, it's a lot easier to understand than going into a city.
The battle's all up here, dude. It's in your mind.
And going into a city, and you don't know when you're clearing a house if someone's gonna have a bomb strapped to them or if a child's gonna have a bomb strapped to them and blow that bitch up and kill you. So, I don't blame the people who went over to the Middle East for having really deep psychological issues, more so than World War II vets did.
You know what? I just realized that the new Batman did. They just stole the soundtrack from Jarhead.
What?
I mean, not really. They just had one song. I just remember like people forgot about Jarhead's soundtrack, which is gas, by the way. But sorry, go ahead, Nicky.
Oh no, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, when you're and that was one of the biggest complaints about Iraq and Afghanistan as well. I mean,
Iraq.
If World War II, even Korea, you had people with uniforms on you, and all you did was go forward. Iraq and Vietnam was like we're going in circles and getting nothing accomplished, and we don't know who we're fighting, and it frustrates you, and you end up going mad. But basically, I mean, my top 5, essentially, the you guys have pretty much already stated, so I don't want to like necessarily repeat myself, but I mean, yeah, there was Full Metal Jacket and Saving Private Ryan and stuff like that. So I was just gonna say the top two that I have is Apocalypse Now is number 2. Now I like Apocalypse Now because it's not a accurate depiction of Vietnam in the literal sense. It's a really good depiction of Vietnam in the metaphorical sense. And also it's just a staple of just Vietnam War movies. And I think that Coppola did a really good
Don't
job.
they watch it in Jarhead?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they watch. They're trying to get the Marines all pumped up. Yeah, the Valkyrie scene.
Can we have our own song?
Yeah, and it illustrates, not only the madness and pointlessness of that war, but also like as they're going down the Mekong Delta, I think is where they're going down the river. The further they delve in, the further they get to the heart of darkness, and
Dude, that
the
movie
more
is
you
just so
change.
trippy to me.
It-
Like, if I was high, I would cry because I
It
felt
was a
high
good
watching
movie.
it. I felt high just watching that thing.
But my favorite of all time, just depiction of just a good summary of what war really is like and what the reality of it is the original All Quiet on the Western Front from the I think it was filmed in the 30s or came out in the 30s. Not long. I mean, it was before World War II and not long after the war itself ended. I read the book and I also saw the original movie, and when you watch it, even when you open the preamble to the book, it basically says this is not an anti-war or pro-war book. I'm just telling you what my experiences were from a German.
But it wasn't a German who wrote this.
Yeah, he basically wrote I don't want to say fictional, but he wrote a story based on fictional characters. But they're all the events that happened are based on stuff that happened in his experiences as a German soldier in the trenches in World War One. And he really does a great job at depicting what the reality of fighting a war really is like. You got these young kids that get brainwashed in school saying that it's all for God and country, and we're going to go kick, the British ass and everyone else, and we're going to, be the top dogs in the country. Because that was during a time when the entire world was trying to build up their military, and everyone was just basically comparing dick sizes, saying like who was the better country. You got all these kings and queen, trying to play chess with each other and saying, okay, we're going to see who's got the biggest army, and they're getting everyone, all rallied up. And then as soon as they get to the front lines and they start feeling the barrage of just constant bombardment of artillery, people coming back with legs, arms, mouths, faces missing, shell shock, literal people can't stop shaking when they get home. It really illustrates to you the pointlessness of war and just how evil it really is. And that's why I really like it.
Yeah, I know they're coming out with a new Netflix, or maybe it's Netflix. I'm not sure. They're coming out with a new film on it.
They are, and I'm actually pretty excited for it. Hopefully they'll do the original film justice, and hopefully they'll do the book justice.
Yeah, I just got really that book. I'm gonna start reading it. I have to finish.
It's a good book. It's a really good book.
You haven't read it before?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, dude!
Dude, it's such a spicy book that Hitler tried getting it. Well, he not tried. He did. He got it burned. Crystal der Nacht. It was one of the books that they were doing with the book burnings.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, probably because it's not what
the realities of what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Oh, that's a really good book. I can't believe you haven't read that yet. I believe they made me read it in school.
So my other, I don't know if you guys have any honorable mentions, but I have one, and it's Inglourious Bastards.
Oh,
it's a great film. I don't consider it like a true, in my eyes, like a true war, because it's kind of just, it's not obviously historically accurate. Not all war films are, but that one for sure was just kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's just a, what you name it.
It's like I would maybe call it like
an alternate history.
Like it's an honor, but it's honoring the veterans who fought, but it's a parody. It's like a parody. Yeah. It's making fun, but it's also honoring at the same time.
Yeah, Tarantino is
that's probably one of my favorite Tarantino films.
He's really good at that kind of alternate history stuff.
Yeah. That's, I guess, it's like his own genre he's made up, but he just gives nods to different time periods, and I just thought that one was a cool nod because obviously everything that he put in there. When we talked about one of the chief characters in that, which was Christoph Waltz, who great segue into the next. Are we talking about that? Unless you guys have honorable mentions, we can go into that segue because I actually was really surprised by that matchup.
Oh, I have a few. I think I have honorable mentions that like aren't really even close to the ones that we talked about, but I have like two that I want to talk about just a little bit. If you guys haven't seen Defiance, I think that's the name of it.
I actually haven't seen Defiance.
It's Daniel
no.
Craig, and the guy who plays.
Oh, they just yeah.
They're Jews hiding out in the woods, and they're fighting off Germans and stuff. Really good. And Anthropoid, which is a Cillian Murphy film. They're Polish people that are in the resistance, I believe. It's been a while since I watched that.
The Darkest Hour is pretty good too.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, dude.
The Darkest Hour is just
I love that movie.
The behind the scenes of like what happened at Dunkirk.
No, it's Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I know, but like, not all of it. So like a lot of it's about Dunkirk, right?
Yeah,
he's pulling strings and like
dude,
trying to.
Winston Churchill had the biggest pair of balls like in the world back then. If he's like the biggest person outside of people who would go into the war, like he had the biggest balls out of all of those guys, all the politicians.
Carry on.
Well, I mean, you gotta have those politicians though. Without them, I know it seems like when you're growing up, you're like, oh, they're just hide behind a pencil or whatever. But dude, without them, they got to pull strings too.
Gary Oldman killed that role, man.
It's just a different breed of men back then, you know.
Yep. Band of Brothers begins with the interviews with the World War II vets, who most of them have passed on by now. But one of the things they say, I remembered it since I first heard it, first really got into Band of Brothers and World War II stuff, is like now, because the war's different. I understand that now soldiers are coming back, and you know the suicide rate for soldiers coming back is very, very high. But
there's more people killed here by suicide than overseas.
Yeah, but back then, people killed themselves if they couldn't go to war.
Yeah,
and a lot of their friends killed themselves in their hometowns because they like weren't fit or weren't old enough to go or whatever for whatever reason, and they killed themselves because they couldn't go.
We gotta imagine now. There's like then you had a clear, concise, hey, this is what I'm going to fight for. Like I'm fighting for America. I'm fighting for oppression. Like you were genuinely scared. You should have got attacked. Like now, I guess we'll go back into we'll go to the war in Iraq or Afghanistan. It's like, what are they fighting for? Like, well, you can't really trick your mind into really making yourself want to go over there. Everybody's just going over there to get a check. Like they just want to get paid. Every time I talk to any soldier, now that's not all true, but the soldiers I've talked to, which are all my friends, are some of them are active duty, some of them are just, guard, but they just want to get a check. They want to get paid. And that's how it is now. There's nothing to fight for anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then it's like, if you don't fight, then you're not a man. Like you're not worthy. The culture is just a lot different now. I mean, I forgot who it was. I was talking to one of my buddies, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what this economy needs? We need to get old-fashioned war." I was like, "Yeah, that's about the only thing that could help us now."
Honestly, I mean, it's not wrong because war breeds innovation.
No, he said nothing like getting us out of a recession like a war.
Yeah,
I
mean that's true. And inventions, like the biggest inventions in human history, have been the effect of war. But
war or heartbreak or something.
I want to say this,
or love.
I think that we need more Pacific-based war films. There's not that many of them. There's not that many good ones. But that's all.
Hey, maybe we could write one, Nicky.
I would love. Oh, we could. You know what? I was actually. I was going to tell you real quickly, Holt. I've got some World War II gear at home. I've got an M1 Garand and an M1 carbine, and I've got my 101st Airborne uniform. Yes, Wells, I have one. I was gonna say if we wait for like the snow to come,
Oh, that would be
we
so
need to
sick.
do, like,
I'd like to.
that, or like a Korean War thing. That was another thing I was gonna say. There's not enough like Korean War films out there. It's called the Forgotten War for a reason. Like no one gave a. There's so many Korean vets that are still alive and breathing, yet I feel like they get the shaft of
Gran Torino,
not
dude.
being remembered. Well, there is that, but that's I wouldn't
It's
call
not a war
that
film. I'm just saying, like that's like
Korean
one of the
War
few
film.
film. That's
Yeah.
that's like one of the few big films that even
mentioned.
that wars on their breath.
Yeah,
So, like-
and that was a great film too. I loved
Yeah.
Gran Torino. I will say probably another honorable mention we should probably talk about if we're talking about the Pacific specifically, Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of that movie, but a lot of
I
people
liked
loved
it.
it, man. A lot of people love that movie.
I don't like it.
I loved it.
War
why'd you not-
Horse. Like when I remember. Sorry, Nikki, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, why? Okay, well, why'd you not like it, Wells?
Andrew Garfield ruined it for me.
Dude,
Really?
Andrew Garfield's such a good actor too. Like he's killed a lot of good roles, but yeah, for some reason that rubbed me the wrong way.
Also, it really didn't.
Well, all that stuff, like it was based off a true story, so it all happened. But I just feel like they definitely
They embellished how big the ridge actually was. I mean, it was tall, but it wasn't as tall as they depicted it in the movie, from what I remember. But
they just
regardless-
Hollywooded it too much for me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's kind of like the way they acted just was a little too theatrical for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say they dramatized it a
theatrical
lot. They
movie.
dramatized it a lot, and it was just like,
Yeah,
dude, this guy probably wouldn't. I mean, it was for what I know, it was historically accurate, right?
For the most part, it is. I mean, like there are little details, like if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but like the ridge itself, I mean, it was tall, and you needed to, get up. You had to climb up there.
yeah.
to get
It wasn't
to
as tall as they.
but it wasn't
made
as
out
tall
to
as
be.
it depicted in the movie. And yes, I will agree with you guys. It was more theatrical, but I think it's hard and maybe Holt, you could back me up on this, but as a director, it's hard not to feel like a way to like embellish it because of the idea that this guy got the fucking Medal of Honor without picking up a rifle.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, and I think
It takes a special person to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I like the way. I mean, they put faith in there, and I thought that was cool. But it was cool. I mean, another movie that I get this Unbroken was similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I get them mixed
mean,
up sometimes. I'm like Unbroken.
Those guys got the shit beaten out of them, so I don't think they embellished that at all. I thought that was pretty accurate.
War Horse was another one that's kind of similar. Like they're like more Disney-ish.
Well,
Like,
War
he
Horse
calls
was
a horse.
musical. War Horse
What?
was a musical, so it's going to be kind of Disney-esque anyway.
Yeah.
It follows a horse, like so. It's like I mean,
The thing is, the thing was, I that wasn't a great film, but it was really entertaining. I mean,
yeah, I liked it when I was younger, dude. I loved that film
yeah.
because it had World War I going on in the background, and but it really wasn't like a World War I film in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
But it was really good. The settings were awesome.
It was a feel-good hit. That's what it was.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the War Horse production, when you see it like live on stage, you've got like 3 people basically manipulating the horse. You got
Guys,
the one.
we're forgetting a great war film,
What?
What was it?
Tropic Thunder.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
You damn fooled me.
I wouldn't call
Yeah.
that a war film. It's a war film. There's a film of a war film.
That's such an interesting. I mean, that was such a groundbreaking film too. I thought it was hilarious.
I
Sorry.
remember
was
the
funny.
controversy of that film. It was on Fox News every single day. That and I remember that era pretty well. That film and the Modern Warfare 2 campaign were on Fox News every single day because of how controversial they were. Like,
Oh, you mean like the airport?
no Russian.
Yeah, no Russian. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh, do you
I don't
remember
know,
that? Do
man.
you remember that?
No,
The one
dude, I
with-
don't.
Dude, all right. Look at so you go up in an elevator. This is how the mission starts, and then Makarov, one of the antagonists of the film, says like, "And remember, no Russian." and because you can't speak Russian, or they'll figure out you're Russian. It's really stupid.
You're a
Yeah,
CIA operative, by the way.
You're a CIA operative in the Russian, like in this Russian group. So you're doing an op. So you open up the elevators open up, and then there's all these civilians, and then the Russians that are with you just start opening fire on the civilians.
Oh, dude.
You have to do it too, because they won't. You think that you have to do it because they'll suss you out, right?
They'll blow your cover.
So basically, you're mowing down a bunch of innocent civilians in the airport, the whole level. And at the end, Makarov knew the whole entire time that you were a CIA agent, and he shoots you and throws you to the ground and then leaves.
So that whole thing made Fox News go into uproar.
Yes, because they're talking about video games causing violence, which is
Well, I mean, let's be fair though. That's kind of disturbing. To like,
it is, but it doesn't
Actually,
cause violence.
To be fair, okay, wait, hold on a second. To be fair, before you play that mission, they do give you a disclaimer warning. They'll say there is a disturbing scene you're about to play in. Do you still want to play it? And you get the option to either say yes or no. They do make that disclaimer to save their
But I
ass.
mean, it's also like, you know, the writers of the game writers, and I guess they still have to make it realistic. Like these things happen, so
They do.
it's not. They're doing it justice by not taking stuff like that out.
What? The CIA kills innocent people? What? No,
Yeah.
of course not. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
America,
Well,
good.
All right, boys. Let's get on to the next segment. I did want so in Glorious Bastard, we were talking about that earlier, and that was our last matchup. What it was? Hans Landa versus John Doe.
No, that was
Wait, who was it?
that was a while ago, dude. I can't remember.
No, I'm saying, but the last one we voted on that you put.
Oh
on
yeah,
Instagram.
Hans Landa versus
Yeah,
John
so,
Doe.
dude, Hans Landa ended up. I think a lot of people haven't seen 7 before, but Hans Landa swept John Doe. Like it was like by like 20 or 30 votes. It was
Yeah,
wild.
I think that's why. I think 7. I don't know why, but 7 it's a really great film. But yeah, a lot of people haven't watched it.
That and John Doe doesn't get that much screen time in it.
That's
Like,
true. But Inglourious
uh,
Bastards, like our era, our age group of people, like early 20s to late 20s, like watched Inglourious Bastards when it came out. So I mean, it's gonna be that you're talking about a 90s film versus a 2009 film. God, 2009 was a great year, man. And yeah, people our age, that's most of the people who follow us, they're gonna be voting for
That's
They're
true.
Hans Landa.
And
That's
I
true.
didn't see 7 either, and I voted for Hans Landa, so that would make sense.
Nicky, you need to
Yeah.
watch 7. Like
I do need to
ASAP.
watch it. I know everyone keeps telling me it's such a great movie, so I really need to sit down and watch it.
I mean, it is a great film. I wouldn't say like it's dark. It's dark.
Plus, I love Brad Pitt.
And this isn't his best performance, but I think he plays his role
I didn't
well.
even make that connection, dude. They're both in.
Yeah, dude, Brad
They're in
Pitt
both
is
movies. I
the
completely forgot about that.
king of cool. I
Yeah,
wish
dude.
I was as cool as Brad Pitt.
Everybody
you
wants.
wish you beat women.
Does he beat women?
Yeah, he's being investigated.
No, he
for,
he came
Oh
out.
shit!
Angelina Jolie came out saying something like that, right? That
yeah.
he.
Or
I
something.
saw.
I
I
don't
saw.
know.
It.
He's
No,
been-
yeah.
been
Wells, he's a
accused.
headline reader. Wells is a headline reader.
No, I'm not, dude. I'm not.
He's been accused.
I'm not. I just thought that'd be funny
I
to say
didn't
that.
punch you. I hit you. Or wait, what did Amber Heard say?
Dude.
yeah.
Well, so this funny thing was, I read an article. It said Emily Ratajkowski, whatever her name is. I think her and Brad Pitt had a thing, and so she like way back in like 2017, 2018 or something like that. She had like a campaign against abuse, like I guess domestic abuse. And then she was like having sex with Brad Pitt while he was abusing Angelina Jolie. I was like, it was just so bass
Is
backwards.
that funny?
What a
No,
Chad!
it's not funny. It's just like everybody was hopping on her ass for that.
Oh
thought that was
man!
hilarious.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
It's a sad situation. I don't know if I just know he's been accused, so I'm not going to sit here and condemn Brad Pitt because I don't know. But I hope it's not true because he's so dreamy.
Okay. Well, so yeah, Hans Hans Landa, our last matchup, won by a lot, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, that wasn't our last matchup. This is the one we got everybody to vote on. Our last matchup was
The last fan vote matchup was Hans Landa versus John Doe. Hans Landa won.
there we go. That's John Doe.
Okay. All right, you want me to go into this week's matchups?
Go
Yes,
for it.
All
Please
right.
do.
So, do you want me to explain the tournament again?
No, dude. If you guys don't know the tournament by now, it's character versus character. One side has evil characters. One side has good characters. Yeah, if you don't know, just freaking go on our Instagram and look at it. We go watch the previous episodes.
Yeah. So, today on the villain side, we have Hannibal Lecter versus Anton Chigurh. Great
Ooh,
matchup.
that's a good one.
But I'm gonna go one way for sure on that one.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And on the heroes side, now this one's kind of interesting. We have Legolas
Oh
versus Achilles.
Wait, what was the last one again? I'm sorry.
Legolas versus Achilles
Okay.
from the movie Troy. Brad
man.
Pitt.
Achilles.
So I want to start off with on the villain side today. Try to make it quick and snappy, guys, because come on. Hannibal Lecter versus Anton Chigurh. Holt, you take the floor.
I'm gonna have to give it to Chigurh here, just because I've watched No Country for Old Men so many times. I'm more partial to him, and he's one of the most menacing villains ever. Like he seemed like I say this a lot with villains, and I think that's what makes villains so good. He just seems larger than life. Like he seems like he's bigger. He's so evil, like no good can defeat him because he literally has no morals. So it doesn't matter. He would murder a kid if it meant he has to go kill somebody. He's so messed up in the head. So I'm gonna have to give it to him. Great performance. What was his name?
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, he played in James Bond, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Skyfall.
Mhm.
He had the
Good.
messed up face.
Really great job.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Good evening, Clarice.
I'm gonna go with Hannibal Lecter. He would
Okay.
literally roast Anton Chigurh. And I mean that in the literal sense. He'd probably eat him.
so
Are
are
we
going off?
fight, dude? How is he gonna?
Yeah. So he's just gonna use his.
He's gonna get his kitchen knife, stab him, and then cut him
So
up.
wait,
and
does
turn him into-
Chigurh have his weapon?
It doesn't matter, dude. But
He's a pretty big dude too. I think.
well, Hannibal Lecter. What does he have in the movie? Let's go with The Shining. I'm assuming is what we're talking about. That Hannibal Lecter.
Are you going off of Hannibal?
Well, that's not The Shining. That's
No, not the
I
Shining.
meant Silence of the
Silence
Lambs.
of the Lambs. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
The Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs.
Well,
Yeah, it's really good at manipulating.
you're going. All right, so I have like one argument that will just completely just smash your argument into the ground and pulverize it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to go Anton Chigurh here. One, because I haven't seen Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
But two, because that's not why. But I'm going off what you just said. If Hannibal Lecter is a manipulator, that's cool. He can manipulate a normal person that has morals. Anton Chigurh cannot be manipulated. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And if he's in a survival situation, he's just going to absolutely murder.
Dude, Josh
Hannibal
Brolin
Lecter.
couldn't even take him. Josh Brolin couldn't even take him.
He might use a shotgun, but Hannibal Lecter will literally eat his face off.
He doesn't even.
Well,
use
Hannibal
his
Lecter doesn't
shotgun.
have some sort of like speed buff.
No, he's an old man.
He doesn't have and he can't use his plus 50 intellect to take down the plus 60,000 attack bonus that Anton Chigurh has. So we're gonna have to go with Anton Chigurh because
We're going off of physical prowess here. Chigurh definitely takes this, and it's not even close.
Anton
I'm
Chigurh
gonna be
and his
Adam
bob-
Sandler real quickly and go, I disagree.
and he flips a coin, so pretty badass.
we clearly have some bias here from Nicky, but it's okay.
You know what? It really comes down to just me purely just having a bias towards Hannibal Lecter because I really like the Silence of the Lambs films. Anyway,
So what that matchup is 2 Shiger, 1 Hannibal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. We'll see what the people say because there's no telling. At this point, I can't predict. I thought I was right. They've voted different ways than I have the past like 2 or 3 times.
And the other matchup we have is Legolas versus Achilles. I'll go first. So if Legolas doesn't have his bow, I still think he wins because it's an elf and they're pretty much like magical in a way. But like if Achilles gets hold of him, dude, I think I'll take Achilles. I just think that elves are too fast and they're too fluid. And especially if Legolas has a bow, it's over for Achilles. But I'm gonna go with Legolas.
does Legolas have like a significant like weakness like Achilles does?
No.
No. I mean, because Achilles, obviously he's the champion, right? In Greek mythology.
We're
But
talking about the Troy version of him.
Yeah, we're going off the
Troy version.
films because
Have
I
you seen
look.
Troy?
I mean,
so I haven't seen Troy, but I do know
Well-
about but I do
well-
know about the myth of Achilles.
you
So-
just talked about one of your favorites, Brad Pitt. This is prime Brad Pitt.
Right. And so again, I'm going to be biased towards Achilles, but at the same time, Achilles does have that one
But
big flaw of his. And
Orlando Bloom, pretty
and if
hot
Orlando
too.
Bloom can land an arrow there, I mean,
Do you mean the Achilles heel?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that's in the movie though.
not in
Yeah,
Troy.
it is.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
No, it should be. It's a
He got
that's
he got
the whole
he got
arc of the
shot.
character.
That's how he got killed, dude. You don't remember? Dude. Oh my.
Are
Bro,
we like?
no, I remember.
bro,
Okay,
bro,
but I thought
no,
it was
stop. Guess who kills him?
the,
Dude,
the,
come on.
the kid with the bow.
No, it was Orlando Bloom.
Oh, damn.
With a
Dude.
bow, dude. So I mean, come
yeah,
on.
bro. Oh
Come
man.
on, man.
Well, you know what? Then gosh, I have to go with Legolas. Then, as much as I love Brad Pitt, I wanted to go for him, but now I got to go with Legolas
Yeah, I mean, you got Orlando Bloom gonna kill him twice. I mean,
with the arrow in the fucking foot, fucking heel.
yeah. So at the end, I think he meets up with I forget her name, but meets up with her, and it's the prince's cousin, and he comes out, and I mean he's a little bitch in the movie, but ends up sniping him right in the damn Achilles tendon, and that's how he goes down.
Dude. I'm just gonna
But
say this.
he's a half god though.
Brad Pitt in this movie, like I would love to see videos of his training and what he did because he is like in some of the best shape I've ever seen in a film before in this movie.
That's
Steroids.
what,
Steroids.
yeah, that's what
Steroids.
they said. That's what they said. I was reading an article said that's like the best shape he's ever been in. But yeah, from what I've heard from different actors and steroids.
Okay.
So
All right.
and
Never mind
and
then.
not taking any
You still got to
credit
work
away.
your ass off, and
But
your diet has to be on point too. So
Even if you're taking gear or juice, you still have to. I mean, I've never juiced or anything. I mean, look at me, I'm a scrawny fuckwit. I've never done that before, but nor would I care to. But you still have to go and work ass off in order to get that big. I mean, there's no way in hell you can get that body that quickly for a role. To do that naturally, it takes years to do that. Years. And I'm not
more
saying
impressed
from
with
my own
like
experience. I'm just saying that from what other bodybuilders have told me that I know.
you know what you can't
It-
do is that in reverse. And what Christian Bale's done to his body is more impressive. But
Christian Bale's transformations by far
crazy, man.
trump anybody's. That's why I think I put him up there, top tier actor. Like not only he's a good
Yeah.
actor, but like his transformations is second to none. I mean,
yeah.
something that I think the only thing that I would say that's lacking in DiCaprio's repertoire, even though he's the best actor, is he never did it like any transformation. You never saw him get buff for a role. You never saw him.
That might be in
sundown.
his he might not want to do that because dude, Christian Bale, I would not be surprised
Well, McConaughey said that McConaughey, when he got down to like 130,
He hasn't
140,
felt the same since.
yeah, he said, "Man, I
Yeah.
don't think I ever recover from that."
Yeah, I don't think those guys like it's kind of sad, but I wouldn't be surprised if they passed away sooner than like 80 because of what they've done to their body. They
I
put through a lot
mean,
of stuff.
the guys like Schwarzenegger and all those guys back in the 70s that were bodybuilding, they were juicing, but not nearly as much as the people are juicing now. And fucking guy had to like get like, I might not be right about this, but like triple bypass surgery on his heart. Like they had to get his like valves like replaced and shit. Like he's not in good shape. And
Well, the reason Arnold and all them, like they were prescribed all that. So when a doctor can prescribe it to you and tell you how to and regiment it for you, gear is not obviously it's not great for you because you're putting so much stress on your organs. I mean, that's really what you're doing. But if you're just taking, say, you're just taking Test E or whatever it is, and you're injecting it the proper way, it's really not that bad for you if done right. Now you have people taking oral steroids, that's going through you're just damaging all your organs when you're taking anything oral. People don't think this, but if you're going to take steroids, you need to inject it. That's the healthiest way to do it. It sounds weird and counterintuitive, but that's the most pure way because it's not going through your stomach. It's not going through like liver's not having to process it. So, and your kidneys aren't getting tore up. But at the end of the day, like your heart is pumping faster and working harder. So that's why you have all like the heart disease and stuff like that.
And unless you're competing on like that huge like Mr. Universe level, or you're preparing for that role, the risk is not even worth the reward.
Yeah, I mean, there's this in the steroid community, or I guess in the lifting community, it's always, do you want to live 1 year as a lion or 100 as a sheep?
Right.
People say that all the time, and I think you don't have to take steroids to be a lion, buddy. It's kind of stupid. Anybody that's talking about in alpha terms, like they're usually not that, So that's interesting. A whole nother topic I could get into because I've been in the lifting scene and fitness scene for a long time, so I have a decent amount of knowledge on all that stuff. But it's a wild, wild world.
I'm sure it is.
And yeah, a lot of actors. Who plays Rob McElhaney? So off of
dude, I have a good idea, man.
What?
Okay, so Holt knows more about juicing and stuff than I do. But I think a good segment to do would be like natural or not, like with like
people
actors.
already do that.
Yeah.
But dude, Greg, let's see. I'll show you. I'm gonna go. Y'all can keep going, Wells.
Well, you kind of crushed me right then, but you think you come up with an original idea and then actually I probably did not. That's probably not original.
Who cares? Like, who cares if it's just why not? Like,
Yeah.
Why not?
So Greg, that's what I was right. Greg Doucette, he's the one who.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
and then you have more plates, more dates. He does it too. More plates, more dates is freaking awesome. But they're way more. They know way more about steroids than I do. Like they can get down in the science. They have like doctorates and that stuff. So I can't really touch on them. But anyways, so Rob McElhaney, he's the one of Always Sunny who got super, super fat for a role. Then he all of a sudden like gets dummy shredded. And I was listening to I think it was just something on YouTube, like an interview he did. And he said, essentially, he's like, he started winking at the camera. He's like, yeah, it's all natural. And then he's like, if you spend all day, every day in the gym, you have a personal trainer and you don't eat a carb for 3 or 4 years, you don't drink, you essentially don't have any fun, you don't spend any time with your kids, your family, and you have a little help, you can look just like this. And it's just him just shredded. And what he said was he went to the doctor. He said, I want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. And then he's like, yeah, okay, I know what you're going for. Because he's like, everybody comes in here and asks me that. How do I look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club?
Holt, if you haven't seen it, I don't know if this interests you, but Wrexham, welcome to Wrexham, Rob McElhaney and Ryan Gosling bought a
Oh
football
no,
club.
Ryan Reynolds. You mean?
God, dude, I did not. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Wow.
Yeah,
Can't
I
believe
heard
said
about that. That's so. Is it
Um,
cool?
I like it a lot because I like soccer a lot. But
They try to turn a team, right? Or like I don't know. If
they bought a team in the 4th division of the English football pyramid. They can get promoted to the Premier League, which is
Do
the
you
top
think-
division
do you
of
think they will?
the football pyramid. It's going to take a long, long time. It takes. I mean, the teams that are in the Premier League um, are. I mean, it can happen, but you're talking you're talking about two guys who have, minimal capital versus
Yeah, they don't have
an
the
entire
capital,
government of
but they have
wealth.
but they can get eyes. And
They
eyes
can,
can-
yeah, they can, but you're talking about Manchester City, who are owned by Saudi Arabian oil company, and Newcastle, who are owned by a Saudi Arabian oil company, and uh, Chelsea, who were owned by a Russian oil company. So like it's not really fair,
Yeah.
but I
So
can talk
already-
about that.
it's a fun story at the end of the day.
And no, it's cool, and I hope they do get the Premier League because it can happen. You can win the Premier League on a minimal budget. Liverpool did it. But yeah, I could talk about that for a while. But the documentary is pretty funny, and I think you should watch it if you like sports. So it'll be interesting enough.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We forgot about the matchup. So we have one more matchup, and we were talking about it. Somehow we got off topic. But
yeah, I
so
chose
what-
Legolas, and Nicky chose Legolas.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just me. So So
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose. I thought it was a closer matchup than I started thinking about it. I mean, there's just no way. Even if Legolas doesn't have a bow, I still think he takes it. He's an elf. Like they're just not human. So literally, you can't really. If you're just a mere mortal human, which he's technically Achilles isn't, but he already got killed by Orlando Bloom in the movie in Troy. So I don't think he can beat Orlando Bloom in his full form. I guess like being Legolas. So yeah, Legolas takes the cake pretty easy on this one. I think Achilles. I think I would say as far as like fight choreography goes, Brad Pitt has some of the cleanest moves in that movie. Like it looks so sick. They did a really good job on that.
When he that first part when he jumps up.
Oh yeah, like
Oh,
little
dude.
I think that's the best example of showing a short fight scene that was really well done. Like
It's satisfying.
so satisfying.
Not like Star Wars where they don't show fighting. Ugh, just never mind.
Do you think so I remember seeing like some action sequences from, I mean, again, I've never seen Troy, but I do remember some action sequences from the movie. Do you think that 300 which I'm pretty sure came after Troy, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, good
Do you
ma-
think it took a lot of inspiration from those fight scenes?
I bet it did.
Because
but
because I'm thinking about it and it looks very similar to, just now that I'm picturing it.
Well, obviously Troy was like more realistic, but I think they probably looked at every single good fight scene and fight choreography and it's like, hey, let's do that, but let's slow it down and speed ramp it and slow it down and like shoot it on green screen and shoot it in studio and then everybody just be shredded. Everybody take steroids. Yeah. I mean, I still really enjoyed 300 the first time I saw it.
I liked it. I mean, yeah, it's embellished and it's theatrical and larger than life than what actually happened, but still, it was a
fun.
great movie. It was a fun movie. Yeah.
Aren't all movies larger than life?
I guess if you put it that way, maybe.
No, not all of them.
Holt says larger than life a lot, and it doesn't bother me, but that's kind of the point of watching a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them. Like some of them are more so like focus on the little things, which I like too. But yeah, they like Nicky said, most movies do embellish a lot just because it's Hollywood, man. It's Hollywood's biz, baby.
And as a director or an artist, you have that freedom to express. Yeah, I can't speak today. To express that your own creative expression as an individual for how you want to illustrate it to the audience, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But because sometimes it bothers me when people look at movies just and they want to see just the only thing that they look at it as far as the aspects of it are just to see how realistic it is.
Yeah, I've gotten carried away with that sometimes. Like that's not
Yeah.
realistic. I'm like, dude, it is a movie though. Like
I do that
Nick-
really, really bad.
yeah, Nicky
I don't want
actually
to.
pointed out because like I was writing. I think Nicky's like, dude, we can make like I
We
was
can make
writing-
shit up, dude. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I was like writing. I was like, well, this isn't gonna make sense because it's not gonna like in the time period. It's not gonna make sense. He's like, did you know like this is a movie? We could literally do whatever the hell we want. I was like,
It's our world.
yeah, you're right. Like we can. We literally can do whatever we want. We don't have to explain anything to anybody if we don't want to.
I'm sure we gave it to Wells and he read it all the way through. He's like, this is shit. It doesn't, this is never happened in real life.
I don't even know if I completely read through it all, but I need to.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was what'd you say, Holt?
it's hard to get people to read a movie script because like I was talking to Nicky, it's like unless you know
How to read a script.
yeah, it's like
I don't think I was reading it the right way because I started noticing like I was like it was hard for me to read. I kept like I was
it's
thinking
not like it's not
many-
like a narrative. It's not like you picking up a novel and reading it.
Yeah,
Right.
I wanted it to read like a book, and I've never read a script before. I don't think I've ever like actually sat down and read a script, so I didn't know. I don't know. It felt like kind of weird, but I need to go back and read it because I know Holt asked me for my opinion. I don't think I ever really gave my full opinion on
Yeah,
it.
dude, he never. I was like, all right,
It's okay. Like I have like some of my best, like I have 3 of my best friends that I would trust with my life. I said, hey guys, I've got, the script my buddy Holt and I just finished. I'd love you guys to read. And they're like, yeah, man, let's do it. And then of course, like, even now, like months later, they're like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry, I haven't finished it yet. So it's okay. We get it. Reading a script is definitely, it's a lot different than a novel, and you can quickly go like be really confused or get really tired or bored of it. So I get it.
anyways,
You're good.
so right now we have the last 2 matchups. Everybody voted everybody voted against Achilles. Everybody voted Legolas, and then the one before that was Shiger, and then 1 Hannibal. So 2 Shiger, 1 Hannibal. So we'll see what the people say because it matters not what we think. But yep, that wraps up that matchup. I need to actually, Wells, you need to make the graphic for the next matchup. I think we're behind.
Posting it today.
Let's go.
I have everything set up. It's Batman versus Indiana Jones.
Where is it?
I'll be
I have-
surprised if Indiana Jones gets 1 vote. All right, who wants to close it out? Wellsington.
All right, I'll do it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Broshoot. If you guys have any feedback at all, please leave that down in the comment section. You can check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on TikTok, Instagram, wherever your little heart desires, we'll be there. Also, make sure to like and comment and share with your friends because that really helps us out, especially with the algorithm on YouTube. So please, if you can do that and help us out, that'd be great.
Algorithm.
Nice. Nice.
Good job,
And
Nicky.
with that,
Peace.
we'll see you guys later. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.